The content is here now.
But this is content of like coffee. Yo, why is this in an unresealable bag?
It's fine. It's because it's so good, you're going to drink it all. This is the good stuff. We tasted this coffee on a live stream, but this is the Kenyan Gesha. And I wanted to post an actual video on it because this coffee is super interesting. So you rarely see Gesha coffee coming out of Kenya. There is a very intricate backstory. I will link this in the description somewhere here. But pretty much, there was only about, I believe, 10 kilos, 11 kilos of this coffee. So not that many people got it in. I'm lucky enough to have ordered it, and also Harry has ordered it, and that's why he's brewing it here. But we're gonna taste this coffee some more. But it's super interesting. We're also gonna get Ming to taste it. He's never tasted Kenyan Gesha. Not many people have tasted Kenyan Gesha, so it's pretty much we'll get the opinion of somebody who knows how to taste, who has never tasted a coffee like this. But this is really interesting because this doesn't really taste like typical
It doesn't smell like a
Kenyans. Yeah, it doesn't smell like.
It smells like a Kenyan.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like a Kenyan. It smells very floral. I will say though, it does have a little bit of that mango Kenyanness in it, but not heavy blackcurrants, not heavy hibiscus. There's no tomato in this at all. But yeah, yellow florals, chamomile, red currant, honeydew, and watermelon. Very interesting story with this coffee. I don't know exactly what the details are with Kenyan coffee, but I know there are a lot of rules with what the producers and farmers are allowed to grow in Kenya, so it's very interesting to see Gesha coming out of Kenya, and hopefully.
And this year it was like a lot of flooding happening and stuff like that.
Yeah, this year Kenyan coffee wasn't the strongest, but this is kind of just an.
But you had this already, right?
I had this coffee already. Didn't you have it with us on a live stream?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh,
I was in LA.
I forgot.
Oh, I was forgetting.
But yeah, we tasted this on a live stream, opened it up. Robert, me, and Yifan had a great time drinking this coffee. This is Harry's first time tasting the coffee. So how are you brewing this?
I'm gonna brew it basically with the same recipes, but
as what you guys brew here?
Yeah. But this kettle is set at 82 right now.
Can you not do? Oh my. Okay, fine. All right.
But I'll just use our standard recipe.
I'm getting trolled right now.
What? This is just a cold bloom.
Devil recipe, Samo Bloom.
Samo Bloom.
And you're brewing with the greatest brewer of all time, the Time More Crystallite. Plastic, by the way.
Well, we're just using plastic on bar because it's safer.
That smells great.
Ooh. It's got a bit of that, like, black currant smell to it now that I've bloomed it.
But it's floral and it's not heavy. It's very delicate, which is surprising.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be very high in body based on the smell. You can give us a minute to bloom just because that's what Brian does.
You gotta let it, you gotta let the coffees open up, man. Definitely smelling a lot of that florality with this. But this was a very expensive coffee. I mean, it was just, the yields are so low. And he's on that low agitation life.
Medium.
You're pouring at what, 4 or 5 mils a second?
7.
7? I can't tell. I can't see the scale.
I pour heavy for us here.
But this guy likes to do kind of higher pours.
Before it breaks.
Right before it breaks, so you get more agitation at the top of the bed, right?
Yeah.
And,
oh no, it just punches through better.
Yeah. So it's theoretically more even.
Well, it's because I need to teach people to do it, and that's
okay.
Like
so you're brewing a shop recipe,
Yeah, because like if you teach people how to brew, you're like, the break is a feedback for them, so they need to pour right below that.
Okay, so it should taste pretty good, but with coffees like this, I do think the higher you extract and the larger ratios you push them out, you kind of will get definitely more definition of flavor notes.
I mean, I'm grinding finer than we're normally grinding here. I'm also doing 1 to 17 for this.
Yeah, we brewed this coffee once, I believe 18, and it was very good.
I mean, if you want 1 to 18 right now,
Well, we were doing 1 to 18 with mellow drip.
oh yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I think 1 to 17 is pretty good with this.
It's good.
Flow is very steady. These are abacas?
Origami.
Origami, which are basically abacas, if I
Actually
remember.
not the same. I learned that the origami filter is actually wood pulp, and the abacas are all that like hemp.
Yeah, but it looks good.
The performance is similar, I would say.
Steady flow.
So
All right, this is going good.
this extracted really well. This is about like 430, which is longer than our Finca LA. So
But we're pushing the coffee.
if you wanted to push it, even our Finca LA is still a high extracting coffee too.
What are you usually extracting at?
Like 21.
21?
Depending on
Okay,
the coffee.
minimum. Yeah. 21. This is probably a little higher. Although you could measure.
I might have changed it.
You could measure bait. Why don't you measure this?
I'm not measuring this. Use your mouth.
I will use my mouth.
I do think that I need to train my baristas to use the refractometer. Me having to come in here every week for QC.
Wow. Woo! Smells good. Give that incorporation.
What am I gonna do to seal this?
Just fold it. Why'd you cut it this way? You cut it like this. You cut the top off. Could have folded it over. Okay, all right. Let's get it in. This guy's got the little tiny little cup.
I give this to Ming.
Oh yeah. Let's let Ming taste a little bit of this. We'll get his opinions. He's busy right now. We're
He
gonna.
bought this coffee.
Yeah. Well, he.
He's like,
This
ooh,
is
Kenyan Gesha.
Kenyan Gesha, very rare. All right.
Ooh.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh my god, the florals are amazing. It's not like your typical like white floral. It's really sweet already. I can smell it.
Okay, it's
kind of
interesting.
floral?
Yeah, very floral.
What kind of floral? I'm bad at that.
What color?
Chamomile, yellow florals.
Yeah.
It's actually unique.
Yeah, super interesting. It's not like your Panama Gesha florals
Yeah.
or your Colombian Gesha florals. It's more delicate than that, in my opinion. But
Oh, definitely chamomile.
what do you taste? And let it really cool.
I would definitely get the chamomile, yellow florals.
I think what was the most interesting thing is this to me is another one of these coffees where you taste it and it's like you're tasting potential.
I mean, it's so good as is already.
Yeah, but that's like one of the first crops of it. There is. Let me taste it. I haven't tasted this in a few weeks, so I'm gonna taste it again. Busy coffee shop.
I can say that again.
All right, we're in a busy shop. People are behind me, so here we go. This is an incredible coffee for what it is. Very unique. Not that many people got this coffee, so I hope this is interesting for people to hear about. Because what we're experiencing here is more like end consumer part. I'm gonna eventually try to get Say Lance on camera, and he can talk a bit about this coffee because he's been telling me about this Kenyan Gesha for years. He literally has been telling me about this for years. He was like, back in the day, we had 90 plus Kenyans. That is literally before my time, before I was drinking coffee. So it seems like Kenyan coffees are coming back in shape, even though this past year it wasn't the strongest, but this is so interesting to taste because to me, it's somewhere, it feels somewhere in between something like a Honduras or Colombian Gesha and a Panama Gesha. It's somewhere like in between there where it's very, very floral, but it's in its kind of own lane. And that's what's interesting because, when you grow Gesha in all these different parts of the world, they all taste very different. All of the flavor notes on this card are actually fairly perceivable for me, but I think what's most interesting is the florality of this coffee. So, as it cools down, you would expect to get, with a lot of these say coffees, you would really expect there to be very defined, structured acidity, because if you're used to drinking say, but
one doesn't.
this here is very floral forward. It's like when it goes really floral forward. I will say though, my opinion on this coffee is that it does taste newer. It does taste, a little younger. If you tasted San Pedro, the first San Pedro releases from Ecuador, or you've tasted some Taiwan coffee or China coffee, or washed coffees or cleaner coffees, you get a lot of the acidity, but it's really stuff that in the back that's missing, where you hope there's just a little more definition. It's not that you're tasting into some sort of wall, or you're tasting into some sort of like dirt aspect. You're tasting kind of just much more softer, rounder acidity. I wish the acidity was more developed on this, but considering this is a first harvest, or newer, younger crop, this is very impressive. And I think that's really also boosting up a lot of the florality. And maybe what I'm tasting is, maybe it's not necessarily young crop. It could just be, this is what Kenyan Gesha is like. Super delicate florality. Yellow florals, chamomile. The acidity is so interesting because the acidity is also incredibly delicate. It's not a very punchy or heavy or juicy acidity like you get with, some of those SLs. And a lot of Kenyan coffees kind of veer in two directions, right? You're going to go into red fruit, black currant, hibiscus, or you're going to go into something like mangoes, some of the tropical fruit aspects. I think this is still more yellow fruit tasting, but it's not loud acidity. And that's what's kind of interesting, right? What I will say though is that if you pick this coffee up, think about kind of what you're supporting here, right? You're supporting the future of Kenyan coffee. You're supporting some of the newer aspects that exist in here. And this is super fun for me to be able to taste. So yeah, from a flavor perspective, it's totally unique. It's totally in its own lane. And I have really never tasted any Gesha like this. It's not loud, and that's, I think, maybe kind of something in between for some people, where they might have wanted it to be louder, but it's totally delicate, very super floral forward. I really like what this coffee tastes like, and it really represents coffee. So cool. We'll get Ming to taste it. All right, what do you think now that it's really cooled down?
It's all like florals.
Floral, sweet.
I think how I brewed it, it didn't end up having a lot of acidity to the brew.
Yeah.
Or just the coffee.
I mean, you're also doing some advanced technology stuff, but
that should make it better.
Should make it right. But that's why you're bringing out a lot of the inherent aspects of the coffee, and
I get more of a melon acidity.
Yeah, but it's so delicate. It's interesting because it's like just a ton of florals. I'm very impressed with this coffee. I still have the same kind of impression that I had on the live stream when I tasted this coffee, and I really hope if you guys have this coffee and brew it.
Yeah, but like very unique. Like probably one of the coffees of all time.
It's so unique.
But it's very different. Like
it's super different.
If you threw this on leaderboard, someone's gonna. I feel like they would get thrown off.
People would get very confused
because they won't expect a Kenyan Gesha to exist anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Because when you hear Kenyan, you think about louder acidity.
Yeah.
You think about tomatoes. You think about very loud acidity. This is super interesting because it is expressive, but it's delicate expressiveness in terms of acidity. And loud florality.
So much in-your-face florals,
Yeah.
which is actually like Panamanian Geshas, I won't say are very in-your-face.
Yeah, but this doesn't have that, classic, like there's not a lot of, I would say, tea profiling.
Yeah.
It's just flowers. Usually you get like floral tea. This is just like floral. Yeah, floral. Very impressive. All right, we're gonna get our good friend Ming to taste this because he bought it and wanted to try it. All right, this is the Kenyan Gesha brewed by Harry. So if it doesn't taste good, you gotta blame Harry.
I always blame Harry anyways.
You gotta think about this one. So that's what was really interesting.
I can kind of tell some Kenyan qualities to it for sure. Acidity is really nice and complex. You get a tiny bit of herbality. Not in a bad way though. Yeah, it's good coffee.
Yeah, it really just throws me off because when I think about Kenyan coffee, like, you know, I've tasted this and I'm like, wow, it doesn't have that loudness that Kenyans have. There's a lot of delicate notes in it. Also, the florality is interesting in this coffee. I've never tasted Kenyan this floral before. I mean, I've never tasted Gesha from Kenya. This is also probably your first time tasting Gesha from Kenya, or have you?
Yeah, first time. Yeah, it's almost like a vanilla floral. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's a good coffee.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what the notes. Yellow florals, chamomile, red currant, honeydew, watermelon. Yeah, I've really been enjoying this coffee. You know, it's an expensive coffee, but what we're tasting is potential here, right? It's like, this is one of the first few harvests of a Kenyan Gesha. I can't wait for the next ones.
Yeah, definitely a lot of potential. Super complex. And yeah, exciting, very clean.
Tastes good.
Yeah, it tastes good.
All right, there it is, the Kenyan Gesha, brewed by Harry. He did some weird technology, some like double kettle stuff, but it's tasting good. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks, Ming, for giving the flavor analysis. I'll see you guys later. Yeah. You should taste this now that it's really, really cooled down. I definitely now am experiencing some of those Kenyan qualities. I think what Ming experienced there was when it really cools down, you get there's definitely that perceivable Kenyan.
Yeah, I went
aspect
in
to it.
and handed some to Mabel, and she was like, "Oh, I get a little tomato." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't get that earlier."
Yeah. So you can tell it's from Kenya. You actually can tell it's from Kenya once it's really, really cooled down.
I feel like if I pulled back some of the extraction a little, the acidity will come through a little bit, because right now the floral is really strong,
Yeah.
dominant.
But I actually really like it because it's so floral forward.
I feel like I'm not eating a flower right now. There's a little bitterness.
Yeah. Well, you're getting some of that Kenyanness, right? And, you know, this past year, it tastes like a lot of those Kenyans we've had earlier in the year, but it's really in its own lane. It totally has very different characteristics to most Kenyans, or at least perceivable characteristics. I think what you're tasting right now, or if you get this and you taste the Kenyan qualities, you totally get it on a cupping table. You'd get it, you know, if you really brew it transparently. But otherwise, incredible coffee. And thanks, Harry, for brewing it. And also, yeah.
It's a circle where you're supposed to put the sticker.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I had to rebag it because it wasn't resealable.
You just... Okay, all right. See you guys later.